everybody.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to the Kitchen and Jorn show. Today, it's a special episode because we're gonna be talking about mental belp.
I didn't prep for the mental belp episode, I'm sorry. I thought it was about something else. I didn't realize we were talking about mental belp today.
It's serious, I passed a couple courses. So today's video, we're gonna do a little update. I'm gonna share my journey with my mental health and some of the things I've learned along the way. It's also an update video because, as you'll remember, a few years ago, we did a video where I tried to track down my ADHD medication, and I wanted to offer, some more information on where that search led me.
I forgot we did that video.
We did, it did terribly. Everybody else kind of forgot too, but we're still gonna talk about it.
It's one of those things where we're doing a follow-up to a video you didn't see, so
go back and watch that one.
Go back and watch that one. I spent all day being like, Jen, at the top of the video, I have to apologize for the fact that I look like today. I just got back from Big Pine Comedy Festival and I am sleepy. So that's why I didn't do my hair. You don't really care. This is an excuse I made up like 6 hours ago that isn't really relevant to my appearance now.
Kristen looks cute. I have mental. So here's what's going on in this video. To kick off this video, I sort of wanted to summarize a little bit my journey with mental health. I'm somebody who, like a lot of people, has some issues with depression and anxiety. Sometimes I find myself pretty depressed. Sometimes I find myself pretty anxious. And depression and anxiety also go hand in hand with my ADHD diagnosis, where I oftentimes, struggle to treat my anxiety and depression because of my ADHD. Mental health for me feels like a bunch of little checks and balances because there's the actual, disorders or things that we're trying to treat, and then there's also the side effects that come from just having a bunch of different things going on at once and trying to keep your brain all happy and good. To start, I'm somebody who, this is a video really where I just say at the top, I very much believe in the importance of treating your depression and anxiety if you have the resources to do so. And so for me, that's been through medication and therapy. If you're not into those things, well, that's not really something I care about.
Yeah, don't eat an entire bag of spinach and expect your depression to go away.
Yeah. When I was younger and I was a teenager, I really dealt with a lot of depression and suicidal ideation. And I didn't treat it because I was undiagnosed at the time and I was a kid and didn't really know what was going on. When I entered adulthood, I kind of mistakenly assumed I had outgrown depression. Nope. So
that's not how depression works.
Exactly.
It'll accommodate to fill the space that you create inside yourself.
Exactly. When I was in my early 20s and working at BuzzFeed and doing stuff, I was sort of in denial about the fact that I was depressed because I was young, I was making money, and I also was just really busy.
So hot.
I was hot. We're still hot. But basically, I didn't really want to put a name to what I was dealing with. Now, for those who watch this channel, you know that something that contributed to my depression was also my PMDD, which is my premenstrual dysphoric disorder. That also can cause depressive episodes. When I was in my early 20s, I was in denial about having PMDD, and I was in denial about being depressed. And as a result, I was a huge to a lot of people in my life, and when they suggested that I maybe needed help, I would say, shut up! No, I don't! And I decided to do a bunch of holistic and weird methods to treat my depression. So there was a period of time in my early 20s where I was trying to consume, and did this for a week or so, where I would consume a bag of raw spinach every day because I figured all the antioxidants in spinach would cure my depression. What ended up happening was I stopped enjoying meals. I would pick spinach because I was like, you don't have to cook it, you can just eat it. So then my meals would be me taking a bite of sandwich, and then to get all the spinach down, I'd be shoving raw spinach into my mouth.
You weren't even putting it in a salad?
I was just eating it
You're just raw dogging spinach?
Yeah, and I will tell you right now, that won't work. It was a messy, weird time in my life. For a lot of reasons, my depression worsened in 2020. And that's sort of when I reached, all of my issues kind of came to a head, and I was like, okay, I should probably get some help because the world is very scary right now, and I don't see a way out of this without some outside help. So 2020 was when I got on birth control to help treat my PMDD, and also at the same time, I got on antidepressants. And let me tell you, the antidepressants unfortunately made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Way more than the spinach.
Yeah. I remember having a conversation with you where I was just like, we can't do this thing where you are basically not functional for 2 weeks out of every month.
Yeah, because with the PMDD and my depression, essentially when I was PMSing, I would just be miserable and horrible for 2 weeks and wouldn't be able to talk to anybody, was really irritable, would fall behind on all my deadlines. And it's just not a way to live your life. For me, getting on antidepressants and then eventually anti-anxiety medication really changed a lot of things for me. At that point, 2020, I was like in my late 20s, and that was really the first time when I felt like I was consistently treating my ADHD because I was taking my medication regularly, and then also treating my PMDD because I was taking my birth control, and then also treating the depression and anxiety because I was taking my medications for those as well. I definitely sort of was like, oh, well now I'm fixed. You know, like I definitely had this element of, okay, well I've started taking the medications, things have started working, and I'm perfect now.
But
life will throw you a lot of curveballs. When I first started my treatments, I really thought that meant I was done.
You would never have mental health ever again.
Yeah, I was like, I'm never gonna have any mental ever again. Up here, no mental, all health. So as time passed and as my life changed and as stressors continued to happen and as I got older, there would be times when my anxiety and depression would come back. Or there would be periods of time, months-long periods of time, where it felt like things were slowly slipping back. That sort of led me to like this different point in my journey where I had to sort of acknowledge, hey, sometimes you might need to adjust your medication.
Yes.
And that, it can be really hard because I always like really struggled to sort of admit that there was a problem and that I needed help. And it had been such a struggle to get me on the meds in the first place. Knowing that I had to do more work to keep them working was infuriating to me.
You are so funny because like you are deeply stubborn. You do not like being told things that you're not ready to deal with necessarily.
Yeah.
Like most people don't.
I am particularly rigid and controlling in some ways.
Yes.
I think like a big lesson for me is that sometimes I do need to let go a little bit and 100% sort of be open to the idea that other people might be able to help me or have ideas on how to help me. At this point in time, you know, it's maybe like 2023. I've been on antidepressants for a few years. I've been on anti-anxiety meds for a few years. I've been consistent, but I've still felt like, okay, sometimes my depression feels worse, my anxiety feels worse. Then I sort of got the double whammy, if you remember, having to change my ADHD medication because of the worldwide shortage of ADHD medication. That was another little, I guess, like bump in the road for me. Finding medication for ADHD or anything that works can be its own challenge. Finding medication that works along with your other meds and is still effective and doesn't cause other side effects is really hard to do.
Yeah, that, and I feel like when you don't have access to your ADHD medication, you get very depressed.
Yeah.
It like contributes to your depression, just like the idea of not having that access.
100%. Like everybody's holding hands. All the things I have going on are holding hands.
Every hand is just like,
yeah, and you're right, yeah. But it's just like everything needs to be accounted for and getting what it needs or else things start to fall. ADHD medications are still in a shortage worldwide. Even though it's 2025, having to switch meds was like pretty traumatic in terms of just like how much of a difference I noticed in my like executive function and obviously my ability to like pay attention during very important tasks like driving. I have found a replacement medication for my ADHD and I have had access to it. However, it definitely doesn't work as well as my previous meds. When I'm having a bad day, it's hard not to feel like especially frustrated, being like, I wish that I could treat my ADHD with the stuff that I know works best. I kind of find myself too at times where it's like, I might not be as depressed or as anxious anymore, but I think I'm still sometimes struggling to feel comfortable in my life because of how much I struggle with my ADHD. And I know I'm lucky. I have a flexible job and I have a lot of supportive friends and I've had a lot of people be very patient with me as I sort of figured it out. I do treat myself and I do go see a doctor and I do try to stay on top of everything. But at the same time, it's like there are things out of my control that I do feel like have big impacts on my mental health. It's an odd time to be alive for everybody. And my advice for people is do your best, understand that things out of your control might affect your treatment. So how does this all sort of work into our lives and our channel? So like Kristen and I have jobs that rely a lot on our personalities, right? It relies on us being able to perform. One of the challenges is balancing performing and being on camera with like having a bad day or having a bad mental health period or things like that.
Absolutely.
And so something that like I have found helpful has been being open about it. And so that's partially why we're making the video, is to just be like, I think I'm doing pretty well and feel really like supported, but at the same time, it's nice to just say, hey, like the past few years we're a journey and we're tough. And it's nice to be able to like talk about it. And I think our audience has been understanding. You may have noticed like we've definitely missed a couple uploads over the past few months. Like we've both been dealing with some health stuff. Kristen's been pretty open about her health stuff, but I haven't. And so that's partially why I'm talking about it now.
My business is everyone's business. Whereas Jen, you keep things a little bit closer to the vest.
I do. I wanted to share this just because it's something that's been on my mind a lot. And I just wanted our audience to know, like, you know, we're going through it too. We're doing the best we can. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching our channel and like letting us be silly and sometimes be sad. Like we've made videos that were kind of depressing that didn't do well, but our audience still showed up for them. We talked about the LA fires for like a 30-minute video. Nobody watched it.
Yeah.
But the people that did were like, damn, good to hear about you.
Yeah.
Good to hear that you're good.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up because the other day I saw a comment. It was just one. It's not a trend. It's just one. Someone who was just like, you know, I can really tell that they're like just kind of like tired and over it and they hate doing this. And it made me kind of sad because there are some days where I gather up all of the joy and energy and love and friendship that I have to give, and I throw all of it into the video that we're shooting that day.
Yeah.
It bummed me out a little bit. Because I was just like, I know that people come to watch us because they like,
It's sort of escapism.
it's like you're here having a conversation with us. Like, this is our friendship. You're literally in my kitchen. And if you turned around, you'd be in my living room. You are quite literally sitting at the bar and we are tending the bar.
Yeah. We're just people who sometimes deal with depression or other health stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that we get to make videos together. I love making videos with Kristen and like being silly for you guys. And like, we're human too, you know?
I've obviously been experiencing what you've been talking about with you behind the scenes. And I've watched you like navigate it. And I'm obviously very proud of you. And I'm obviously very proud of the fact that you've gotten through like challenges and changes and stuff like that. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, buddy.
Is that allowed?
It's allowed.
Can I be a friend? Or is that illegal in America now?
It's definitely allowed. There's ups and downs, but yeah, I mostly feel up and I'm mostly just grateful to be here. Please continue to watch us. Not every video after this is gonna be about our lives or our mental health, but I wanted to just sort of like clue you guys into how this year's been going and stuff that's been going on. Sometimes people will ask like, is it easy to make content or is it like hard to make content if you're having a bad day? The answer would be yes, that can be tough. We try to have as many good days as possible because we want to be able to bring good energy to y'all.
There are days where we're just like, we can't shoot today because we shoot a video today, it's gonna be nonsense and we're gonna scrap it because like people are gonna be like, you guys look like you just crawled in and out from the rain, and we're gonna be like, yeah, because like sometimes that happens.
Right,
like,
and I guess like this isn't a video where we're like, stop leaving mean comments, because most of you don't leave mean comments. But I guess
almost none of you
I
do.
guess sometimes I just want to have a video where I can point to be like, guys, just know that like we are people that really care, really try. If you have something critical to say about our videos, you can just try to be constructive. People will say you look tired and it's like, sometimes we don't look tired.
Sometimes we're just aging.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, Kristen looks so bad now. And it's like, you need to understand, I made my last BuzzFeed video 5 years ago. When you learned about me as a person, that was like a decade ago. I looked different because I was 10 years younger.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that is all to say that I'm very proud of you and I feel like you have come very far and I feel like you are like the heart of my heart.
Thank you very much. I love you. Thank you to our audience for watching. Stick around. We got a bunch of fun videos planned for the rest of the spring and some fun stuff going on after that.
Oh yeah, we have a fun video we're shooting next week. I won't talk about what it is yet, but we are shooting a fun video next week.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun things coming up. Stay tuned. We release new videos every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking with us. We're only human, but we're thankful for you all the same.
Yes. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.